Welcome to the Babies in Business Podcast. Join your hosts, Rachel and Avram Gonzalez, real-life parents and business partners. Each week on Babies in Business, Rachel and Avram create a space for entrepreneurial parents to find their own way. They'll dive into insights on topics like leadership, efficiency, self-awareness, budgeting, and human psychology as they nurture their family and build their business. Here's your hosts, Avram and Rachel.
If you're thinking about hiring a nanny, then you're in the right place. Because in this episode, we're going to share with you everything that we wish we would have thought of before we'd hired a nanny.
Yes. There are a lot of things that we're going to talk about, things we didn't even think about that came up later. Things that we had in the forefront of our mind when planning for a nanny, and we really kind of stopped there. But there are some other things that took us by surprise.
Yeah, and bringing a nanny into your home is a big decision. And there's more implications than you might be aware of, especially if you've not had experience before. This is going to be really enlightening for you.
Right. Because
you're probably thinking about this in terms of daycare, in terms of some other type of childcare.
Right.
And so...
But you're also probably thinking about it also, maybe some of the implications we didn't think about, but we were very aware of on this one is we work from home.
Yes.
So we are at home, and the job of the nanny was to not only take care of our child, but to make sure that we were able to work.
Yes.
So the kid wasn't coming in and interrupting us and stopping our workday. That was one of the number one jobs that she had. So it is a little bit different if you're working from home as opposed to the nanny is in your home while you go to work.
Yeah. And also, I think this is going to be really catered towards those who are listening that have small children at home. They're not in school yet, right? So we have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
And it just so happens to be that as we're recording this, our 3-year-old has now been at Montessori for 5 weeks. This is the end of his 5th week right now. And they have like a pre program, like an infant program that we decided after a lot of consideration to put our 1-year-old in their program. Yeah. And that'll probably be a different episode for another day because we certainly struggled with that decision because we kept our 3-year-old at home almost until he was 3. No, till he was 3.
Till he was 3. It was the Monday after he turned 3 that he went to Montessori school.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like you said, we'll talk about August and the deliberation and all the things that came into play for that decision to put him in Montessori school. But we really want to focus on the nanny. And if you are looking to hire a nanny, things to consider and things to consider that you may not think about.
Yeah.
So some of these you might have thought about and some of them you might not have.
Yeah, so you could see this episode as kind of like 2 parts. The first half here, we're going to be talking about things like hiring, pay, and insurance, like safety, right? And the second half, we're going to look at all the things that have to do with this person being at your house and, how they're going to feed your children, how they're going to communicate with you,
time off,
like
what they fill their time with your child, those kinds of things.
That kind of stuff. And so our hope is that we can prepare you in a greater way for that interview process. You'll know some of the things that you need to ask about based off of what you hear today. And then you'll also know, is this really what I want to do?
Exactly. I was going to say that yes, you'll find out, is nanny the right fit for you or is a facility the right fit for you? We're not really going to do the comparisons, but if you're seeing the pros and cons as we talk about it, maybe you're not willing to go through those cons that are for your family in the situation of having a nanny.
Yeah, so let's kick it off. I think these kind of all go together, like with hiring and payment.
Yeah.
But what's some of the stuff that came up for us with hiring?
Yeah, with hiring, it's like, who are you hiring? This person is going to be taking care of your kid. And part of the thing is like, how do you find the person? We're not really going to go into how you find them. There are websites that you can find them on and different things. But really interviewing the person and getting to know them, I would have had different questions and the answers to the questions would have been graded a little bit differently.
Yeah, and certain things would be more important, less important.
Yeah.
Right.
Like for me, it's like college educated. Maybe that is important and maybe it's not. I think that regardless of them having education, that if you live at home or you don't is a bigger deciding factor for me. If you're still living with your parents or with family, I think that's a big deal because you've not moved beyond a certain point. It could also mean something about how you take care of my home because you're living with somebody else. So some of those considerations came up.
Yeah, well, there's the other thing that is a tell about somebody still living at home with parents is that they're not self-reliant yet.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things in their life then that are dramatic
Yeah.
or always a problem
Yeah.
that will then make its way into your home.
Yeah, correct.
So we didn't realize that until later.
And it can also be that this person is or is not driven. For the most part, I would say if you're still living with your parents, then that could also be an indicator that you really don't know what you want to do and you're really not sure how to get there, even if you did kind of sort of know what you wanted to do. So that's also a consideration.
If I were to do it again, I would make sure that the person could articulate whatever it is, their goal.
Yeah.
And that it's likely not a career that they're getting into with your family. It's an in-between thing
It's a
between
step.
now and their goal. So
I want to be with Nanny because I love child education and I'm training for that, and I plan to start doing XYZ in 2027.
Yep.
And I'm going through school right now and I would like to get some experience with your family.
Right.
Something like that.
That's what I would be looking for, because what you said, if they're driven, they're goal-oriented, they're also going to show up and be more present. Like
Yes.
the role itself then has more meaning in their life because it's helping them get towards the goal.
It's going to help their resume in the long run. They will be able to have you as a reference point for childcare and other things that they're looking to do. So it can be really helpful. Yeah.
That was the big thing, right? Because you want somebody who's going to show up, be present, and be very reliable for the job. And
Yeah.
if the job doesn't help them reach another goal and there is no goal, you're going to find that there's just a lot of disconnect with the person that's coming in.
Yeah. And then one other caveat for the hiring side and who you're hiring, looking at like your family values. Are you religious? Aren't you? What are your standing as far as like, this is a hot topic, the gender roles in society right now. That's a big deal. If that's a big deal to your family
You need to
and you
speak
want
about it.
traditional, you want things taught that are traditional or whatever you want to call it now, male, female roles, whatever, that's a big deal. You do need to take that into consideration with who you hire. And you being an employer, that could be a really touchy thing. You may need an HR consultant to talk to so that when you do choose to hire someone or you're asking these questions in the interview process,
It's legit.
that you are also not seeming like you are, what is that? Discriminating. That you are going to say no to certain things because it doesn't fit with your family values, but you're also going to hold the line with how you want things to come across in the way that your child is being talked to. So you can have a little bit more control, I think, with a nanny, with how things are done.
Yeah. So there's like a whole other side of hiring we're not even getting into, which
Yeah.
is the match that it is for your family. I
Yeah.
think you're smart enough
Yeah.
to figure that out on your own. These are kind of like the blind spots we just weren't aware of until later.
Yeah.
Payment's a big thing.
Yeah.
Why don't you share a little bit about payment? And
This is going to be really brief. What payment really came down to for me was I wanted to understand legally what are my obligations to do this in the correct way. I want to claim it on my tax return. I want to make sure I get write-offs. I want to make sure that I do right by who I'm hiring, and I want to make sure that everything's legit and above board.
Yes.
So what we did is we went through, care.com is how we found the person, but then HomePay is the company that actually offers nanny payments. And they have this really easy portal that you can go through. They track the hours. Here in New Mexico, for every 30 hours the nanny works, they get 1 hour of sick leave. That's a big deal.
They track all that.
When I was looking at how to pay this person and how to track this thing that's very important and you must keep track of, and then when they get paid it out, it needs to be deducted from those hours that have accrued and all this stuff. And then the taxes being paid. So HomePay was a really great option, and they helped me set up an LLC for our household employee because that's how it needed to be.
Yep.
So they did all the legal side. So I didn't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah.
They issued the W-2, they did all the stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to touch it.
Yeah. And And you want to set it up that way because you want this person to not have to worry about it and be very taken care of by your family.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're going to get in trouble if you don't.
You will.
I mean, you're going to be paying them a lot of money. It does depend on each state. There's like this limit, but it's a pretty low limit. If you're paying a nanny anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, you need this kind of thing to protect yourself. So that was something I was very aware of.
Yeah.
Do right by yourself if you're going to hire a nanny.
And I think it goes without saying, like, you're going to pay a premium for a nanny.
Yes.
This is not a daycare facility.
Nope.
It's, one-on-one or, one person for your 2 or 3 kids or whatever it is.
Yep.
And you need to pay accordingly.
Yep.
And the good folks are coming at a premium.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon
No
to pay.
lower than 25, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely not, and there's a lot of folks asking for 30, 35, and, they got these credentials. You got to decide, do those credentials matter to you? What are the other things that they're going to be doing in your home that justify that?
Right.
And we'll chat a little bit more about that, but I think that's all I wanted to share about payment, because we're all business owners here. We understand this.
We understand all the implications. And then there was something else that I was very aware of that I needed, that I found to be quite the obstacle. So my thought with my children is safety. Their safety is paramount for me. And insurance is a really big deal. I want to make sure if my nanny gets hurt on my premises that I have the insurance in place to take care of that. So workers' comp. And then I wanted to have an insurance where if my nanny is driving my children to and from school or whatever situation that was, or the park, or different things, different activities, would they, if she got into an accident, God forbid, that it would be covered by insurance. So I was able to find an insurance. It took me a long time actually to find an insurance that worked for nannies for the workers' comp. And then I was not able to find anybody that would cover me for her driving her vehicle with my children in her car. So that never actually happened. The entire time that we had her on payroll and watching our children, she never drove my children because I didn't feel like I was prepared for the event of an accident, God forbid.
Yeah. So there's probably something people have figured out for that. We found it extremely difficult, if not impossible.
And it was in my state. Yeah, so there were some states that there were businesses that would cover for that, but not our state, not here in New Mexico.
Not New Mexico.
Yeah.
So that's just something that you'll have to figure out and arrange for, depending on where you are.
Yep. Yeah. Big deal. Insurance was a big deal to me.
Yeah. All right, switching gears, we're going to go through like the laundry list of all the things that we just didn't know about what it would be like having somebody else in your home taking care of your children.
Yes, we are excited to help you understand what you're getting into that you might not have predicted. I tried to read some blogs about what to do and to prepare for with a nanny, and whoa, we did not predict everything.
Did not. And one of the big things was around food.
Yeah.
We just did not even think about providing or not providing food for the person that was taking care of our kids.
Right. It never actually came up in any of the blogs that I read about having you providing the meals at your home when they're there.
Yeah.
It never came up. So it actually did not occur to me.
Yeah. And I think you have to decide either yes, that's included and we're going to do that, or you draw a hard line and you say you need to pack a lunch and bring it to work.
Yeah. Well, and also when we first hired the nanny, the hours were 9 to 12, Monday through Thursday.
Yes.
And my thought was 9, you've already eaten. 12, you're going to go off to lunch.
Yep.
So it never occurred to me to include food. But it was within, I think it was the second day that she asked, hey, is food included? And I felt pressure in the spot and I was like, yeah. And then we never actually revisited it.
Yeah.
Even though we found the further on we went, we saw that actually caused a lot of complications. That was one of the things that came up that was not prepared for in advance. And there's a couple of pros and cons that came with that. If she's come to work and she's making breakfast first thing, well, what's the kid doing?
Not being taken care of.
Yeah. Are you feeding our kid too? What does that look like? If she's also fixing herself lunch, is she more focused on fixing herself lunch instead of fixing your kid lunch and sitting down to eat hers while yours is being fed? The amount of food that you're cooking for a kid is very small. So if you're looking at maybe maximizing the time for your child, maybe consider having your nanny bring food.
Yeah. And
but it is up to you. It's like, what do you want to do?
What do you want to do? And I think the other part of it is, so when it comes to your kid, and you'll learn this during the hiring process, or we want to ask about it. So like, are they going to put together a meal plan and give you a shopping list to get each week?
Right.
Or
Is that their assignment or is that yours? And when will that be provided? And what are deadlines? Provide some deadlines maybe for different things. So if they're going to provide a menu, okay. Or maybe it's better that you do because you have some preferences on what they do and don't eat, or, the variety or whatever.
So you just have to figure that out well in advance, because how you start with this person is going to be how it carries to the relationship. It's harder to change things once they're moving in one direction.
Yep.
So I think this was just a piece we really didn't think about.
Yeah, and then consistency is, if you're going to be providing the menu and the ingredients for all these things, and you're going to have recipes and you want them to execute on cooking these different things, then making sure that you do things consistently so that you're providing the actual structure that they require.
Yeah. Another big one we found was communication. And, even though in this situation we had our nanny at the house while we were working from home, it was still important for there to be communication where they weren't coming in and out of the room or working. We needed to work. That was what we needed to accomplish.
And also not actually disturbing the day that Lincoln was having. And seeing mom could just send him over the edge and have a whole new reset have to happen. And he's frustrated. So text is something we relied on. And initially, when hiring the nanny, it was very clear that the phone was to be not used and not visible to the child, but put away. But then when communications needed to happen, that's when the phone started creeping in. And over the 14 months that we had the nanny, we just saw more and more and more and more phone use on things other than just communicating with us about the stuff.
Yeah. So we were talking about this over breakfast this morning as we were coming up with the outline for the episode. We're like, if we did it different, we would maybe, it sounds funny, but maybe get like a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, walkie-talkie or something.
Or another device maybe that's hooked up to the Wi-Fi that can be used for texting.
And then having the phone put away, because it's so easy to have those social media apps that you want to play with and you're on the phone instead of watching My Child that you're paid to watch. And
text from a friend, and the temptation is really high to go look at that. Yeah, yep. So communication ended up being a really big thing. We also didn't think about the implication of time off.
Yes. While people need time off, totally okay, awesome. Yes, you go do you. You're a human being. Please do that. That actually means something when you have a nanny in your home.
Yeah, like we didn't think through what that really meant. So when they took the time off, what does that mean for you and your family?
Right.
You are back on.
Yes, that means one of you will be working if you split the work in a way that allows that. Or it means that only one will be working, but you've got to get the work done at another time of the day, and then your energy could be zapped. It could mean all sorts of things, but when your nanny leaves on an extended leave, like extended being over 2 days is in my thoughts, for childcare, say it's over the weekend and they leave on Wednesday and they come back the next Wednesday, that's damn near 10 days. I think that's 10 days. So it's a significant amount of time or 7 days, my math is off, but it could be 10 days depending on how it works out with weekends. But it can be a lot of unintended time that you don't get to work because the person took off.
Yeah. I remember she wanted to take a vacation that was like in the spring or something like that, and was going to be gone for 8 days, 9 days, something like that total. And we looked at that and we're like, I guess we're going to take our staycation at that time.
Yeah, because there was no other way to make great use of that without being frustrated, overworked, overburdened, just all the stuff that it would mean, burning the candle at both ends that whole time.
And then you don't think about the reality, which is there will be sick days.
Yeah.
Okay, and so when a sick day happens, what does that mean? Same thing.
Yes.
Somebody is now on childcare duty and not working. And the reason you hired the nanny is because you needed somebody to watch them while you do something else.
Yes. And then what we saw with sick days, what was so interesting, the pattern that we saw was when time was taken off, often there was a sick day directly following that time off. So if she was supposed to come back on a Thursday, she didn't. There was no work on Thursday, Friday, and then through the weekend, and Monday would be the next day. So it extended it to be, I think we had upwards of 14 days at one point for time. So it can extend and it can be unpredictable. And, well, why do we hire a nanny? We need help with our children.
Yeah. I think the big point is when you are working with a daycare facility, as an example,
Yep.
they are always going to be open.
Yeah, they have people. If they have people that are sick, they must have other employees to do the stuff.
Yes. And
Your
so,
child will have that care.
so they're reliable in that regard.
Yeah.
Now, if your kid gets sick, you still have to take care of them. That is one of the awesome things about having a nanny,
Yes.
is that if they're comfortable with it and your kid is sick, they will still show up and care for your child.
Yep.
But if they're sick, you're back on the hook. You got to fill that time.
When you go to a facility, yeah.
Yep. So
Yep.
that was just didn't think through all of that. We got like one more on here. I thought that was.
Yeah, I put on here like activity/schedule. What are they going to fill their day with? And that can be something that you provide or that they provide. They could provide a list of activities they'd like to do with them throughout the week and then let you know if that requires supplies that you need to get, or vice versa. Maybe it's you and you have these activities. Maybe you have something printed out. Maybe you could have all sorts of organization. What does that look like? But that they have something, maybe some kind of structure. Maybe they have a day that they go to the park or they go to the pool or they do an activity at home. Maybe it's some kind of like science-y thing, like a volcano kind of thing, or maybe it's a painting project or whatever that is. Who will be doing that? Who will come up with that schedule? How far in advance? How will that be provided as far as the information disseminated to each other? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I would say in hindsight, I think it's really important to make sure that they've got something to do every day, multiple things, and it's determined in advance.
Yes, and I would say if you are going to have your nanny come up with the activity/schedule of their day, I would say specifically about activities is give them parameters. Do you want them to be working with paint or do you want them to be working with dry activities? What are those parameters that work for your family? And then what are the things that you want to make sure happen? Like a daycare facility would have certain procedures to make sure that if there is a mess, this is how we mitigate the mess. Some of those things. So those are some of the implications that come along with activities that maybe we or maybe you don't or haven't thought about.
Yeah, if I did it again, I would make sure that this person was going to be planning them at least a week or two in advance and would
Yes.
turn them into us, give us the opportunity to get the supplies
Yep.
versus just kind of winging it day to day,
Yep.
or, oh, I've got an idea for one activity for
Yeah.
next week. Could we get the things together?
Yep.
Great, that's awesome. Now, what about the other 4 days?
Right.
And it doesn't
then-
really work to be showing up and being like, so, what are we going to do today?
Yeah.
That ends up, it just doesn't really work.
And then also taking into consideration if you live somewhere where it's really hot outside and you don't really want your kids out for extended period of time, maybe it's like an hour tops that they're outside, but then what are some inside activities that they'll be doing? So you become the activity coordinator in a way because either you are planning them or your nanny is planning them and you are making sure to provide those supplies or whatever that looks like. But yeah, it's a thing.
We have an episode I'd like to plug. It has to do with this tool we've used and talked about a lot. It's the Clifton Strengths Finder. We've got at least 2 or 3 episodes about that. I think that if you have your nanny take that Clifton Strengths Finder before you hire them,
Yes.
you will find out, is this person an organized person or not? Is this person a creative person or not? Is this person detail-oriented
Yes.
or not? Like, do they have high follow-through or not?
Yes.
And you can figure out what's more important to you in the makeup of this person, but that test will help you see it before you hire them.
Yeah.
Because I think where I'd like to kind of land the plane here is you are bringing another person into your home.
Yeah.
And so for me, it reminded me a lot of being in college. and having a roommate.
Yeah.
I had roommates that I loved and adored, but they had these habits that just drove me nuts.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter who you bring in, they're going to bring their habits into your home, and now you're living with them.
Yes.
I will leave it at that, right? Because you might really enjoy them, but there are certain aspects of how they show up in life and what they bring into your home that's normal in theirs that you will never could ever anticipate. And now you're living with it.
Yes. One thing that I want to end with is the services that you will likely find nannies on, like Patty Cake Nanny or Care.com, some other different websites. They have background checks that you can do on the people that you will be hiring. I'm not sure all the different things that you can get, but I would recommend that you do something like that, because you like being able to see that kind of stuff. This person is coming into your home. Definitely avail yourself of all of the things that you can do to really vet this person, because they're going to be in your home every day with your kid.
Yep. And, you know, you're going to come home from the gym and they're going to be there.
Yep.
Or you're going to come home from a meeting, they're going to be there.
Yep.
And so I think that, you know, long term, you also need to make sure that this is somebody that I can really get along with.
Yeah, that you don't mind seeing every day. Mm-hmm. They will become a part of your family. Are you going to like them, or are you not going to like them? And in this situation, I would argue that you do want to like your nanny.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you'll be miserable.
Yep.
Both of you. Both of you. Yeah, it was an incredible journey for us. We learned a lot. We're happy to pass some of the things that we've learned along to you in your consideration of what to do. If you got questions, you want to bounce them off of us, you can always email us. You can get a hold of us at hello@babiesandbiz.com. Just shoot us a message, and happy to answer that question or turn it into another podcast episode based off of what you have that you want to know more about. We're always happy to share. That's kind of the purpose of the creation of this podcast anyway. Just got things that we learned about that I think others would benefit from.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with that, we appreciate you so much for listening and tuning in. If you got a friend that you know is thinking about and trying to decide, do I do daycare? Do I do a nanny? Please share this episode with them. Send them a text message and give them that gift that you've just received here today. So with that, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Babies in Business podcast. Who do you know that would benefit from hearing this episode? Share it with them and post about it on social media. You can find the show notes for this episode, free downloads, and connect with the rest of the community at babiesandbiz.com. We'll see you next time.